So, I have come across an issue. So, yesterday when I filmed my reading of the first chapter of Little Land, I realised that I was very, very close to my screen because I wasn't wearing my glasses. So today I'm like, okay, I'll make it better, I'll wear my glasses, I'll be able to read the thing properly, but like, the reflection of the screen onto my glasses looks flippin' ghastly. So what I'm gonna have to do is lean back. Nope, still the same issue. Okay, that's better. I only moved my head just a little bit, so if you're wondering why my head isn't really moving very much as I'm reading this, it's because I'm really trying to not have this kind of look. It really made me feel very chuffed that a whole bunch of people really liked my story. So today I'm recording the second chapter, and I will warn you, it is also a little bit of a tease, just so you know. We don't actually get into any of the diaper changing littleness until a couple of chapters in. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do when we reach that point, because I'm not sure what YouTube's policy on audio readings of erotica, because right now we're fine because we're not mentioning anything even remotely rude, but once diapers start getting changed, I think we might have to maybe move on to a different platform for these. I'll try my darndest to find one that's going to still be free, so that you guys don't have to pay to subscribe to my OnlyFans or to my Patreon in order to see it, but it might be unavoidable, and I'll put I'll set it up so that I have the lowest tier possible on my Patreon, so you can hear the rest of the story if that's something that you're interested in. It'll be something like $1. But yeah, but we'll see if we can find something that's free first before I do that. Yeah. Hello everybody. Welcome to another instance of story time. I'm very excited. It's freezing cold outside, and I just made the stupid decision of washing my hair. So I'm wrapped up. I've got my blanket. So I thought it would be really nice if you guys could all get yourselves rugged up if it's cold where you are, or find somewhere nice and cool to lie down if it's not cold where you are. But if it is cold, get your nice fluffy jumpers, put on a pair of socks, get your favorite blankie, and settle down and just listen to a story, okay? Okay. The train slid to a graceful stop, and every head in the train car swung towards the window. A vast white expanse of sleek, modern architecture greeted their gazes. The doors began to open, and a hush fell over the train car. All Vanessa could hear was the beating of her heart, which had somehow crawled out of her chest cavity and lodged itself firmly in her throat. "Dr. Berry's group," came a voice, high-pitched and clear. "Exit the train now, please." A few members of the carriage shuffled forward cautiously. Vanessa seemed to freeze in place, paralysed by the unknown. During the journey to the park, she had found something of a safety in this train, and the disquieted voice in her head, who reminded her of every past mistake and every future peril, had been muted. Now that she was required to move, it was back, and it shouted, anchoring her to the floor. Aidan, unaware of the noise in Vanessa's head and simply wishing to leave the train, gently prodded her forward. Vanessa stumbled out the door. Aidan followed and ushered her towards a small group of former train inhabitants that had gathered on the shining platform. A woman stood before the group. Her crisp white suit and immaculately coiffed hair gave her the presence of authority. She swept a single delicately manicured finger across the screen of a small tablet. "Okay, this looks like everyone," she said, scanning the group of 5 and consulting her tablet. "If you'd all like to follow me?" She spun on her heel and walked decisively towards an escalator leading up. Despite the question being rhetorical, Vanessa answered in her head. "I would not like to follow her," she thought. But she lacked the time necessary to think on this further. The woman had already reached the escalator, and, despite her anxiety, Vanessa followed. Her reckoning being, It was better to be here and in a group than here on her own, though she would rather stay on the train. Or, better yet, not have come to this place at all. Having summited the massive escalator, Vanessa resisted the urge to sprint back to the train and beg the conductor to take her home. Instead, she followed the group down a corridor and attempted to distract herself. The group contained 5. Herself, Aiden, a girl with astonishingly red hair, and 2 boys, one slim and lanky with brown hair, the other of average height and blonde with an equally blonde moustache. The red-headed girl and lanky boy looked around their surroundings in apparent wonderment. The blonde boy stared ahead in resolute concentration. Aiden appeared distracted, rifling around in his pockets for something. Undoubtedly, another biscuit. "And here we are," said the woman, opening a pale blue door. She motioned for the group to follow her inside. The room was large. Not as impressively so as the train station platform, though to be fair, little else would have been. One side of the room was taken up by a row of pale blue armchairs. Opposite these, a row of 5 doors, each inscribed with a name. Vanessa's stomach fluttered with unease as she located the booth that had been allocated to her. "All right, everyone, find your booth, please." Vanessa walked leadenly towards the middle door, her gorge rising in anticipation. "In you go," declared the woman. "Have a lovely stay." And in they went. Vanessa found herself in the booth, a 3x3 meter box. Directly across from her, a small door painted in the same shade of blue as the one in the last room. On the left wall, a pair of cupboard doors. On the right, a sizable television screen, which seemed to register her gaze. The screen blinked to life. "Welcome, Vanessa," it read. "Please hang up your coat on the hook behind you and stand on the mark in the center of the room." Vanessa turned toward the door and noted that a silver hook had emerged from above it. She obeyed the screen. "Thank you, Vanessa," read the screen. "Welcome to Little Land. As you are already aware, we are a bespoke therapy and recreation park. You have been referred to this service under the therapy branch by Dr. Nora Berry." There was that word again, recreation. The thought that this place could be used for entertainment was a little too much for Vanessa, who stood trembling in the booth. "As you have been referred here under therapy, mandatory clothing has been allocated to you. Please remove your current garments and deposit them in the chute to your left." Vanessa's eyes widened as she read this last direction. She felt vulnerable enough without removing her clothing. She didn't move. "Please remove current garments," repeated the screen, after a pregnant pause. Was this system automated, or was there a person there to notice she hadn't complied? What would happen if she simply sat down and disobeyed? "Remove current undergarments," insisted the screen, impolitely. "Countdown to dressing measures will begin shortly. Remove current garments to prevent countdown." Vanessa squeaked audibly. "Dressing measures." With unsteady hands, Vanessa unbuttoned her blouse and shrugged out of it. "Thank you, Vanessa," read the screen. "Dressing measures prevented." She clutched her blouse between 2 fists, hesitant to discard it. "Please place garments in the chute to your left," read the screen. Still unsettled from the previous threat, Vanessa dropped her blouse down the chute. "Good girl, Vanessa," read the screen. "Please continue with removal of current garments." Unwilling to part with her skirt until the last possible moment, Vanessa removed her socks, folded them together, and down the chute they went. While taking a steadying breath, she fumbled with the zip on her skirt. Eventually, it came free. After only a moment's hesitation, Vanessa's skirt joined her blouse and socks, wherever the chute had taken them. She stood before the screen in nothing but her bra and underpants. She was suddenly glad that she had elected to wear a matching set that morning, though it likely made no difference to a computer. Soon she would be dressed in whatever mandatory clothing looked like, and sent off to the mercy of seamlessly scaled android caregivers and staff, whatever they were. Please remove remaining undergarments and deposit them in the chute, read the screen. No, said Vanessa in distress. Please, no, I can't, she begged the computer, or the person who was controlling the computer. I don't want to be naked. Remove remaining undergarments, insisted the screen. No, said Vanessa, sinking down to sit on the floor. There, she curled into a ball against the left wall. Countdown to dressing measures will begin shortly. Remove current undergarments to prevent countdown, answered the screen. Vanessa buried her face in her hands. No, I can't. I don't want to be naked. She peeked up at the screen from behind her fingers. Countdown to dressing measures initiated, read the screen, and the tears that had threatened to leave Vanessa's eyes since she disembarked from the train spilled out and poured down her face. 5, came a voice. Wait, cried Vanessa. 4, I don't, she began. 3, I don't want any dressing measures. 2, Vanessa just sobbed. 1, dressing measures initiated. The door to her right opened, and the woman from earlier stepped inside the booth. Come now, she said. Be a good girl and let's get you dressed. Please, began Vanessa. No buts, honey, said the woman. Up, Vanessa felt a strange tug, a compulsion to obey the warm, stern voice, and she stood. Good girl. Turn around. Vanessa turned. The woman swiftly removed her bra, with such deftness that the absence of cloth made her skin prickle with cold. She felt fingers being tucked into her panty waistband, and they descended. A deep blush burned itself across Vanessa's cheeks. Okay, honey, said the woman, as she deposited Vanessa's last remaining clothing into the chute. I'm going to wait right here and make sure you're doing as you're told, okay? Vanessa trembled where she stood, naked, having been removed of her last shred of autonomy. She could only nod, and she did, praying that the woman wouldn't take her silence as cheek. Good girl, Vanessa, read the screen. The cupboard behind you contains your mandatory clothing. It has all been created to your exact specifications. Vanessa wiped her eyes with the backs of her hands. Well, she thought, that was pretty cool. Please retrieve 1 blue dress from the cupboard. Being naked and disliking the feeling immensely, Vanessa obeyed. There were only a few garments in the cupboard, and locating the blue dress was simple. A white garment hung next to the dress. She could see some socks tucked into a pair of white Mary Janes at the bottom. Vanessa turned her attention back to the screen that now read, Please dress yourself in 1 blue dress. If you require assistance, please press the button to the left of my screen. She did as she was bid and stepped into the dress. It was light blue, as she expected from the computer's description. It was also the puffiest dress she had ever seen. When she guided the puffed sleeves into their proper place, and the woman from earlier had zipped her into the dress, she looked down. The bodice was short, and the voluminous skirt flowed from just beneath her breasts, finishing a good 2 inches above her knee. Vanessa felt as if this dress wouldn't be out of place in a 1950s Little Miss pageant, or down a rabbit hole. Please retrieve 1 white apron from the cupboard, read the screen. It appeared the comparison to Alice in Wonderland had been apt. An apron? Whispered Vanessa as she reached into the cupboard. Why do I need an apron? Your caregiver chose the clothing for you, honey, explained the woman, and Vanessa jumped slightly, startled. She had forgotten she wasn't alone in the booth. My caregiver? Asked Vanessa, attempting to navigate the notion of apron wearing. She'd put her arm through the wrong hole. The woman nodded and came forward to help Vanessa disentangle herself from the starched cotton fabric. Yeah, every guest here at Little Land is allocated a caregiver. The woman bade Vanessa turn, and began to tie her apron sashes in a tight bow. I suppose yours prefers a more... The woman paused. Old-fashioned style? Old-fashioned? Asked Vanessa. The woman didn't answer. She simply gestured towards the screen, which now read, "Please retrieve 1 pair white socks and 1 pair white shoes from the cupboard." When she'd slid her feet into the frilly socks and fastened the buckles on her new shoes, Vanessa stood and faced the screen. "Good girl, Vanessa," it read. "You are now dressed. Please proceed through the door to your right. Have a pleasant stay." Vanessa hesitated and glanced at the woman, who gave her a wan smile. "Go on," she said. "Just through the door. The rest of the group is waiting for you."